Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by and taking the time to join us for today's webcast covering updates on the PPP legislation and a forgiveness portal presentation. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. Please use the question feature to submit your questions, which will be addressed during and at the end of the presentation. If you have any audio challenges from your computer, we have also provided a dial-in telephone number, which you can find in the participant chat. Without further delay, Scott, can you get us started?
Sure, Becky. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us this morning on this webinar. My name is Scott Katna, President of People's State Bank. Thank you for trusting People's as your partner in the PPP loan program. So the purpose of today's webinar is to give you an update on what is currently happening with PPP legislation that's being proposed by Congress and how that might impact the timing for you applying for your PPP forgiveness. We also want to introduce you to Clifton Larson Allen, referred to this morning as CLA, who is coordinating an online portal for our customers for submission of their completed PPP forgiveness applications. CLA will give you a high-level overview this morning on how to use their portal. CLA has been a national leader in the PPP review and analysis from the beginning of that program and has showed themselves to be the best partner for our customers during this forgiveness process. Now, I know the PPP process instituted by the federal government has been complex and bumpy at many times. So thank you for sticking with People's as we've worked tirelessly to meet the needs of you, our customer. I'm very proud of what our commercial team and our related support teams have accomplished through the PPP program. And we have supported the continued payroll of over 12,000 employees in our market area through this program. Now, if you are a new customer to People's through the PPP program, I would like to personally welcome you to People's and assure you that you'll find a partner that sees the potential in you and your business. People's uses a team approach to provide unique financial solutions tailored to your business, and we back that with an unparalleled level of customer service. So if you need other banking services beyond this PPP program, such as advanced digital banking tools or cash management deposit services or other lending and deposit services, please contact us to serve you again. Now, before turning this back over to CLA, I would like to briefly explain the roles of what People's can do and what CLA can do as we enter the loan forgiveness phase of this process. Now, because People's is acting as an agent of the SBA in providing your PPP loan, in that agent role, unfortunately, we are prohibited from giving you detailed advice on any forgiveness questions that are specific to your business situation. What we are allowed to do is to educate you on how to navigate this process and answer general questions that the SBA has already published in their written Q&A guidance. Now, CLA will provide the online portal that allows you to submit your loan forgiveness documents after you have fully filled out the application form and gathered any required supporting documents. CLA will provide the technical side of processing the application and can answer any questions related to accessing the portal, how to upload information, or questions on how to submit completed applications. Because of the customer support limitations on People's, if you have a specific question on how this applies to your unique business situation, we strongly encourage you to work with your CPA or local accountant for answers. Now, we do realize that some businesses may not have a regular established relationship with a CPA to help you with these questions specific to your business situation. That is why People's is providing our customers who need it the opportunity for up to 30 minutes of professional PPP advice with the Wisconsin accounting firm MBE CPAs. So along with the email that you will receive with the CLA portal link for your application, you will also receive a separate email with the link that allows you to contact MBE CPA with a question should you wish. You will have the opportunity to contract with MBE for further services beyond that first 30 minutes for help in completing or reviewing your application if you wish and find it valuable. For more information on MBE, you can visit their website at mbecpa.com. So joining us today from CLA are David Henneke and Tom Danielson. David is a principal at CLA in their financial institutions group and is dedicated to providing audits, director's exams, internal audits, and other control reviews. David has 15 years of experience working with banks. Tom is also a principal with CLA and is specializing in banking matters. For over 30 years, Tom has provided audit, tax, and consulting services for community bankers and their customers. So at this point, I would like to turn it over to Tom to provide us an update on the PPP forgiveness process.
Thank you, Scott. And I'd like to thank everybody that's on this webinar for taking an hour out of your life in order to learn more about PPP forgiveness and how the portal works. And so thank you for taking your time. As you probably have heard, if you've been following along with the payroll protection program for a period of time now, you'll realize that there's still a great deal of uncertainty and there's ongoing changes in the program, in the PPP forgiveness. And so if you're uncertain or frustrated by this process, concern is well warranted. And I'd say the good news about this is the ongoing changes and the uncertainty tends to look like it's going to work and actually help the borrowers like yourself to probably end up with a simplified methodology for asking for forgiveness for many, if not most of you. Just a quick overview of what we're seeing out in the marketplace right now, or what we're hearing from Washington specifically. And that is the SBA plans to accept forgiveness applications starting on August 10th. And so that's the earliest day that you can possibly actually apply for forgiveness. And yet we're saying to a lot of folks that probably don't rush in. For many of us, that we should be taking our time and approaching this with appropriate amount of diligence and patience. And the reason I say that is there have been bills introduced in both the House and the Senate that would provide automatic, and I say that with air quotes, forgiveness for loans up to $150,000. And when I say automatic, you still have to follow a form. If the bills pass as they're written right now, that would mean that you do a certification form. It looks like it'll be a 1 or 2 page document. And that looks to be a fairly easy process. So personally, if you're a borrower that's got a loan of less than $150,000, I would not rush into applying for forgiveness or even attempting, because it may simply be easier to wait and get the 1 page or 2 page document that you have to file that essentially is a matter of some signatures, some certifications, some initials, dating, signing, those kinds of things. And it does look quite a bit simpler. As we move on to the next slide, we see that realistically, just what I said is really consider holding off and applying for forgiveness if your loan is less than $150,000. Congress hasn't yet passed this, and yet there is a lot of momentum in both houses. Most of the banking organizations like the ICBA, the ABA, and a number of the state organizations, in fact, all of the state organizations are all pushing for some sort of easier application. And Congress is also looking at some other simplified forgiveness ideas. They are more speculative in nature, and we are telling most of our people are talking to, is that I would not at this point assume that there will be a different program, although there could be. We are hearing numbers about simplified methodologies for up to $2 million loans. But at this point, we consider this to be speculative. So what we encourage you to do is watch for updates. What should you be doing right now? Besides participating in webinars like this, we encourage everybody to download and familiarize yourself with Forms 3508 and 3508EZ. It would make sense for you to take a look at which form applies to you and get the forms, get the instructions, and then start gathering the information you need related to things like payroll, things like your interest expense on secured loans, utilities, and the forgivable expenses that will drive your forgiveness amount. Download a calculator to assist you, and if you don't have a calculator, and we're going to strongly recommend that when you sign into your portal, which David Henneke will explain to you in a few moments, download a calculator to assist you, and it'll help you gather the information and help you with the calculations. When the portal opens for you, you'll get 2 emails. One will be from People's Bank telling you that your invitation to open your portal will be happening, and the second one will be for us with instructions to actually open up your portal. And then, very important, as soon as you receive the welcome email from us, log into your portal. That way, People's Bank and we know that you're there, that you got your notification, that it didn't go to spam, and that will help us a great deal in making sure that we serve you as well as you deserve. And so we're looking forward to working with you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to David Henneke to actually give you a demonstration of the portal.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. As Tom mentioned, I'm going to be walking you through the portal to show you how to log in, and we're going to go through at a high level some of the functionality of the portal so that once you get in, you have a solid base of understanding as to how it works and how you can communicate with CLA throughout the process if you're having issues. So today we're going to cover logging in. I'm going to show you where we have some videos recorded that will walk you through the detailed instructions about how to upload all your documentation that is currently required by the applications. We'll walk through how to enter data, how to upload documents, and then ultimately submitting your application. And then I'll briefly spend some time talking about what you can expect as the borrower once the application is submitted and the timelines for review and submission to the SBA. So I'm going to flip over here real quick to the portal. And so what you see on your screen right now is the login page. So before this step, when you get the email that Tom mentioned related to your activation email, there will be a button in that email that will say activate your account. You'll click activate and it'll take you to an area where you have to set up your security credentials. It consists of a user or a password of 14 characters in length, a security question, and then also multi-factor authentication. And so the multi-factor authentication can take a couple of forms to where there's an app that you can download. You can set up a text through your phone, and you can also set up a phone call to have them call you to verify that it's actually you logging in. So for this demonstration, I've already done that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to log in and I'll demonstrate the multi-factor authentication pieces of it. And then we'll get into the portal. So as you can see here, I set up to get a text message from my to my phone when I log in. So I'm going to click send code. And then I just got my text, so I'm going to enter in that number, and then it brings you to this landing page. And so now this is my environment as it relates to when we were building the platform. But when you log in, you're only going to see one box with the People's State Bank logo in it that will indicate to you that this is where your loan resides. So you're going to click that button, which will bring you over here, which will bring you to your loan. So you'll see your PPP loan on this platform here. And then you're going to go over here and click open. And this brings you to the portal to where you can begin uploading and documenting your application for review. So I'm going to take you through each tab, and we'll walk through each and walk through some of the high-level functionality. But this first item is just an initial questionnaire where we're looking for some information related to your loan, of when you expect to apply for forgiveness, as well as how much forgiveness you expect to obtain. That we can then build out some databases related to that to provide some statistical analysis related to your loan. The main part starts when we flip over here to the forgiveness calculation overview. The first thing I'm going to show you is that there's a link at the top of the page here that says view video instructions for the portal. When you click it, we're getting some feedback here. All right, so so this takes you to a link there that walks you through each of the individual tabs, that you simply click the play button, and it'll walk you through each tab and how to fill out your application. So this is your instructions related to how you're going to use it at a detailed level. And as you can see, it's broken out between the regular 3508 form and the 3508 EZ, depending on which form you are ultimately going to file. So as you can see, we have the selection of whether you're filing the EZ or not. And if you click no, it shifts and changes because the applications are different. And if you click yes, it'll ask you for the items on the EZ. And then it walks you through, and then you select your covered period. As of right now, it's the 8 or the 24 weeks. And then it begins to walk you through the application. But as Scott mentioned, the point of this portal is that when you arrive to this portal, you have a completed signed application ready for upload. And so what this is going to do is you're going to key in some information from your application in order to verify the math that you did on your application is correct. And then it also allows us to intake this information to begin our review. In order to upload documents, you'll see there's an upload button where there's a spot to upload each item. You simply click upload. It brings you to your desktop. And so I'll just grab one of these PDFs here. If I wanted to click that, I'll click that button. And now you can see I've got that attachment just uploaded there. And if you want to delete anything that you uploaded, maybe too many things, you just click that there. So as we go down through the items, you'll see this is where you key in your information, and this is effectively your application. And then depending on how you fill this out, you'll see there are other tabs up top related to the supporting documentation that will be required for both the EZ form and the non-EZ form. So for example, the payroll costs, gross payroll, is per the instructions of both forms. This is where you will update or upload either bank account statements or third-party payroll service provider reports, as well as the tax forms that are required by the law to be uploaded. You will upload other forgivable costs here, which stem from the business mortgage interest payments, as well as the other items that are allowed by the application, such as utilities and rents. And the one thing I wanted to call out here that you'll notice is that we do have tables set up to help you organize this data that can provide a structured way for us to complete our review in a very quick manner. And so what these tables will do is, as you click these plus buttons, you will add in different mortgage interest payments. You could add in the utilities, you'll add in the rents to provide some structure around that so that we can review it very, very quickly. And so as I'll demonstrate really quick in this one, you'll see that I didn't have any rents or utilities displayed, but if I key in $1,000 for each one of those, and now go over here, you'll see there's a spot for where you'll enter the rents and the utility payments, as well as an upload box to upload that supporting documentation that ties to your application. Because as you can imagine, at least right now, unless, as Tom mentioned, there is the automatic forgiveness goes through per the application right now. Our responsibility and the bank's responsibility related to what we have to do as a part of the lender responsibilities is that we need to review your application and the supporting documentation to verify that it reconciles. And so this is the structure that will allow you to do that and provide it in a consistent manner. On the other information tab, as Tom mentioned, we have an educational link as well to where it covers the impact of the 24-week covered period, as well as an overview of the Form EZ and when it's allowed to be used. I'll just stop there briefly and just quickly note, because we've had some questions come through related to the EZ or the 3508, which one do I use? I can speak to that briefly related to what the instructions say, but I would recommend you consult the instructions. In the instructions of the 3508 EZ, there's 3 certifications that you have to be able to answer one of them yes in order to use the 3508 EZ. And the 3 items are: 1, are you a sole proprietor that is not actually submitting any payroll along with your application, meaning you're strictly a sole proprietor and all you're going to be providing is a Schedule C, a Schedule F, or one of those forms to support your payroll. The other one is if you have not reduced FTE or the employee numbers or the payroll costs. And then finally, there's a certification you can make that if you were not allowed to operate at the same level you were prior to COVID-19 and you have not reduced anybody's salaries, that then you qualify for the 3508 EZ. That is a very high level explanation. I suggest you consult the 3508 EZ instructions, because you'll see there's a checklist with these 3 boxes there that outlines that you need to be able to answer yes to one of those questions in order to use that form. So as Tom mentioned, there's the forms themselves, the PDFs are right here. So if I click this button, here's the EZ, and I guess I'll just show you here really quick. Here's those 3 boxes I mentioned, where it says you can apply for forgiveness using the EZ form if you can check at least one of the 3 boxes. So you need to be able to check one of these boxes in order to use it. So that'll be out there for your use. We also have some Excel-based templates that take that form and convert it into an Excel-based template to kind of walk you through which areas you need to fill out first in order to do that, or as it walks through the application. The final item we're asking is that you need to note if CLA assisted you in preparing the forgiveness application. In order to avoid conflicts of interest, as we will be reviewing your applications, we need to know that if anybody at CLA actually helped you prepare the application so we can avoid those conflicts of interest. At the end of this session, you're going to be asked a question or asked a couple of questions about this session, one of them being a question about CLA communicating with you. Please keep in mind that that communication should be outside of the scope of PPP from a standpoint of helping you prepare the application, because we are engaged by the institution to review these applications and we want to avoid these conflicts of interest where possible. So as Scott mentioned, use the provider that they're contracting with or your own personal providers to assist you with the preparation of the application. The other item I want you to note here is you'll see off to the right, there's this discussion with CLA. You can type in a question or a comment and click send. This will come to us through an email box that we have set up to intake these, to which then we will respond to you, and you will receive an email noting that a response has been put into your portal. So you'll simply log into your portal and see the response. But this is the mechanism to where we can communicate back and forth related to any questions you have about the portal use or any problems that you're having in uploading information. So once you get this all completed, you then will click this validate button down here. When you click validate, you'll see that things highlight in red to where there are things that need to be addressed. So as you saw before, I keyed in some new information to where I did not update the tables to reconcile to that. I also have a blank column here that I need to address. So if I delete that, I'll go back to the forgiveness calculation page and zero these out to clear these error checks. And so now that I've validated, everything checks out. I've filled out and uploaded things where I've needed to based on this. So then I'm going to click the submit button. A box pops up that says, are you sure you want to submit? And this is important because once you click yes, your portal actually locks down and does not allow you to actually upload or change anything after that, because that kicks off the review process. You can still communicate with us if you have questions or you need us to unlock it for some reason. But just so you are aware, is once you click yes, the portal locks because that kicks off the review process on the CLA side. And we will be communicating with you if we need more information or if we have questions through this discussion box as we go through. So that brings us kind of to the end as our high-level discussion related to the portal and its functionality. As I mentioned before, it just kind of walks step by step through each application or each form of what you need to upload and the data that you need to provide. And as you can imagine, that if we're constantly monitoring the guidance as well as the new legislation, for in the event that that changes, meaning if that $150,000 and below automatic forgiveness goes through, the portal will look different for those of you who would qualify for that. And so we'll be making adjustments to the portal as new laws get signed into effect that may affect what you need to provide. So I'm going to flip back here to the PowerPoint. And so the other item that I just wanted to briefly touch on is communicating with CLA. I showed you the portal and that communication device that's in there. When your portals are opened, we would prefer that you communicate with us in that through that method, given that that maintains a record of all of the communication back and forth, so you can see it and we can see it. But also, if you have trouble actually logging into the portal or having issues on that front, we have set up an email box, which is borrowerppp@claconnect.com, which will, you can send emails to us to where we have people monitoring that if you have issues, to where we can then go in and work with you to identify why you're having trouble getting into the portal. And that's mainly what it'll be used for, because most of the communication or any communication other than those type of things, we would prefer you handle it through the portal so we can maintain that record. And so with that, we're going to bring us to our closing comments. Like I mentioned, if you have questions, you can push them through the question box. We had a few on the Form 3508EZ. And let me see if there's any other questions here affecting this.
David, there's one question that has come up a number of times as I've been watching the questions, and that relates to, does the data save automatically?
Oh, yep.
And the answer is yes, it does. Once you answer the question and upload something, that information is saved. So you can back out of the portal and come back as many times as you need to prior to hitting submit.
Yep, that is correct. Yep, so that is, so yep, you, it automatically saves as you're making those changes. Another question came in about me entering my personal name to get the SBA loan. So what this is going to look like is that we're going to get email addresses for contact people at your organizations, as they're the individuals who are going to be getting the emails to initially start the process. So this would be, you know, if you have a controller, a CFO, or who's ever responsible for preparing this application, is it will go to an email address that then they will be responsible for activating the portal. Another common question we get, I don't see it here, but just so everybody is aware, well, I guess two common questions is, one, if you have multiple PPP loans that are tied to the same email address, meaning you have multiple companies that took PPP loans, but they'll be tied to the same user, the same email address, you'll just see when you log in, like you saw, I had 2 loans on my screen. You will see, you'll see all the loans listed there. So you do not need to log in multiple times or set up multiple accounts, as all the loans will be tied to that email address. The other question we get a lot is, can multiple users have access to the portal? The answer is no. Each portal will have access, we granted access to only one individual. The reason for that is, since we're dealing with payroll data and some secure data of that nature, we wanted to keep the access limited to people that that actually need it, and keep it as limited as possible. So with that, as Tom mentioned and Scott mentioned, we look forward to working with you and helping you through this process. Please do not hesitate to use those communication devices and reaching out to us if you're having problems or have questions. We'll get back to you in a timely manner to make sure we can move you through the process here related to getting your application done. But as Scott mentioned, we are kind of waiting on the SBA somewhat related to, and Congress related to what the final rules are ultimately going to look like. And there are still some questions that are unanswered, but we'll work with you and the bank throughout this process to make sure you get your answers and get your forgiveness filings or forgiveness applications processed. So with that, Scott, I'll turn it back over to you if you have any other closing comments that you would like to add. And you may be on mute, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, David and
There it is.
Tom. Thank you, guys, for the update. Now, I do want to say that I'm sure there's going to be questions that come up that we didn't cover, and we want to help you with that. So if we didn't cover all those and you have a question, please email or call your People's PPP commercial lender as well with questions on where to find that information or how to navigate the CLA resources that are available. Now, we are also going to provide a link to today's recording of the webinar for your follow-up as needed or to distribute within your company, if that helps. So with that, this concludes this morning's webcast. And thank you so much for using People's in the program and for joining us today.